back channel. All right. I gotta change the title on this. All right. Okay, so we'll change the title on it. All right, so let's start the show. All right, welcome back to Terrible at Fishing. Got bedhead. Yeah. All right. So you guys noticed something. I posted something yesterday, and it's actually pretty exciting for me. It is the sequel to a book that I wrote many years ago. And the book was Phoenix Rising. Now, I changed the cover on this for the re-release and did a few other things to it. But, so you'll find these on Amazon.com. And the new one, Orion Rising, is also on Amazon.com in ebook at the moment. Print very soon. So, pretty excited about it. Now, kind of was a little bummed when I went back to look from the manuscript for my third book in this series. Still working title on it, called The Ring Rising. But so evidently I lost the manuscript. But I had only finished about a third of it. But what I did do is I did find, when you write books like this, science fiction, it's based on fact, exaggerated fact. And so you start with a storyboard. You have the storyboard. And you got to sort of connect the dots and the different locations. Then you have to create planets, in science fiction. And you've got to create indigenous people. So there's a lot of imagination. The beautiful thing about writing is that it's you're sort of in God's position. I mean, you're creating planets and people and things like that. So this is what the new cover looks like for Phoenix Rising. This is what the old cover looked like. I know it's a little generic, my old cover. The ship on the front is the ship that I created in my CG. It's the Phoenix. And anyway, fortunately, I kept my notes. Now, why did it take me so long to continue this story? Well, I've been sick a lot. 2 years ago, I was paralyzed and suffering seizures 3 times a week that would last days at a time. Last year was COVID and all that stuff, and pulmonary embolisms, and I had surgeries before my blood clot in my brain. I've been kind of sick a lot, and that kind of took me away from all this. Put it on the back burner. Well, I don't know what got me to start it up again lately, but I did. And the sequel is extremely exciting. So let me tell you about the first book. The first book, I'm trying to find, there it is. The first book is set obviously in the future. Hey, Richard. The first book is set in the future, the year 2082. The world, mankind, has exhausted some rare earth elements. And it's on the verge of collapse technologically and set mankind into the Stone Ages. And that would cost, just countless lives. So this one family Michael Zerilli. He's a genius, and him and his family own a ship that of his design that has a warp engine. Now, one thing about warp is that warp engines are not light speed engines. Okay, they're not the same. I mean, I hate Star Trek I love Star Trek, but I hate Star Trek when it comes to warping because they go by the multiples of the speed of light. Well, even at multiples of speed of light, they couldn't travel the galaxies. They just couldn't. It would take too long. So warping takes space and folds it, and you punch through one end of the space to the other. And so this warp engine that Zerilli has got on the Phoenix is the only one of its kind that he created. And it allows him to travel anywhere in the known universe or unknown universe. And so he and his family set off to find these rare earth elements on another planet. Well, Paul Orion, he's the bad guy in the story. He wants the warp engine in order to farm asteroids and other worlds for his own profit. So he sets out to steal the warp engine, which is in the Phoenix, from the Zerillis. And it becomes sort of a cat and mouse game in the Phoenix Rising. Well, as you can tell by the name of the second book, Orion Rising, he doesn't die. Orion doesn't die in Phoenix Rising. All right? Orion, though, suffers losses, and he wants revenge. Okay, he wants revenge. And so Orion Rising is a vindictive story of him creating a collaboration with the really, really bad guys. And trying to get vengeance on the Phoenix for what they did to him in the first book. So Orion Rising is all about that. The third book, called The Ring Rising, at least that's the working title. The Ring is the organizations that he partnered up with, Orion. And these are really bad guys. So that's the trilogy. And really, Phoenix, the Zerilli family, which are based on my family, because it's me, Michael, my wife, Kathy, then there's Rebecca, Russell, and Elizabeth. Okay, that's my family. Okay, I figured, why do I have to come up with new names when I got all these names around me? There's a lot of familiar names to me in this book, in these two books. And that's a lot of fun. Because I've made heroes and villains and things like that all from people that I know. And it's kind of fun. Although Paul Orion is not based on anybody I know. So he's really the bad guy in the first two books. And it's a lot of fun. They are available right now on Amazon. You have to search with my name, okay? You just got to search with my name because Phoenix Rising and Orion Rising are not trademark names. They just happen to be names that I use in my books, and fortunately, they are not trademarked. And there are a lot of books under the title Phoenix Rising and Orion Rising. I don't even know about Ring Rising, but I doubt if anybody even has another book named that. I'll have to look it up because it's still a working title. But you got to sort of have the Rising series, the sagas. So the word rising has got to be in there. And I could put Paul Orion Rising. Nobody's got that. So, but it's this is two of the books that I've authored. I've actually authored non-fiction books too. There's another one on Amazon called The True Survival Guide for Small Businesses, and that was one that I also wrote, and published in the. That's a fun book for small businesses. And I've written other books. One's an autobiography I really wrote for my family because of my health. I wanted my kids to know, if indeed I did die, who their dad was, and my background and stuff like that. So so that's what, and then I got more books, I think. Oh, I did an illustrated book. It's a science fiction also. I've done some short stories, and so it's the illustrated book's pretty cool. I'm gonna have to. I can put a video together and put it on YouTube of my illustrated book. That would be good to do, huh? That's a good story. I also have another really good story of one of my favorite pictures that I've done. And I've written that background on her, and that's a good story too. So there's a lot of stuff in my head, and there's some great spin-offs I want to do on the Phoenix sagas. Some really good relationships that I created in it, some great planets. The YAG Coalition, which is a police force for the universe, I could create an entire saga around the YAG. The YAG is really cool. So it's a lot of fun. I know it's not about fishing. Not about fishing. Except, bad guys are fishing to kill the good guys. So, this is part. One thing about when you retire, or when you're sick a lot, instead of sitting around and thinking about how sick you are and feeling sorry for yourself, this is one of those things very cathartic for me. One of the reasons I put my family in this book is because I get to build on the family relationship. In the saga, the Phoenix saga, there is one of the underlying fun stories about it is that it's family. In the end, it's family, and it's about relationships. In the end, that's what it's about. I mean, it's got the fight sequences, it's got the space battles, it's got all the cool aliens and scenes like that in it. And it's got a lot of stuff. It's got a lot of stuff. And it's got beautiful women. It's got, it's got love stories. It's got loss, death, and so it's just one of those things, that that I enjoy writing about. But again, it's cathartic for me. I've had these professionally edited and reviewed, and the series themselves, these two books, actually I've had 3 books professionally gone through over and over again. So yeah, that cost me money because these are self-published, and I don't have the money to hire a literary agent, and you need a literary agent in order to get traditional publishing. So Orion Rising in paperback and in hardbound will be coming out in the next few days. These right here are available in ebook, so give it a few more days and Amazon will have it in the Phoenix Rising in paperback. So you'll get this in paperback. I did not re-release it in hardbound. So I could. Not sure if I will. But they're fairly affordable. They're only, I think Phoenix Rising is $1.99, and Orion Rising right now is $2.99. So $3 and you can get it in e-form. In paperback, they're going to be $9.99. In hardbound, Orion Rising will be $19.99. So that's how much it'll be. And I think you guys really enjoy it. I really do. Phoenix Rising got some really good reviews on it. Orion Rising is better. It's hard to make a sequel better than the first. And I think I did that with Orion Rising. They're really not too long. They're fast reads. 37,000 words. They're real fast reads. And 175 pages, I think, on both of the books, give or take. And then, of course, The Ring. I have to start it. But I will tell you, The Ring, unlike the first two books, it's really head-to-head. It's Mike against Paul. Those two. In The Ring, it gets complicated. Because there are 3 bad guys doing 3 different bad things to planets and stuff like that. And so Mike, the Phoenix, has to, with the relationships he's created in the first 2 books. These 2 books, he's created relationships enough to handle 3 fronts in the 3rd book. So in that case, I'm going to introduce some really cool monsters that they're going to have to fight. Very Dune-like. And let me see if I've got a trailer. Media source. Orion Rising. See if I can find it real quick. Yeah, here it goes. I'm going to have to... Alright, give me a sec. I have to fit this to my window. Alright, let's see what you guys think of the trailer. Alright, well that's my trailer. That's my trailer for it. I did the models, I did the animation. I know. It was like, I did it in a day, right? So, but yeah, I mean, doing the models, and animating the models and camera panning and stuff like that, that's a lot to do for my computer. So, it's just the way it is. It's just a lot to do. So I want you guys to check it out. I mean, I know it's $2. It's a whole $5 for the first 2 books in e-form. $5 whole. American. Less if in Britain. It costs the same, but less number wise because the exchange rate. So if you got $5, check them out. Check out Phoenix Rising and Orion Rising. Well, it's going to take months, perhaps, for me to work on the ring. And the ring is going to, it's a lot of stuff. I have to get it into that mode. I have to get into that writing mode. So, right now we'll focus on promoting Orion Rising. And work on a computerized graphic board for the ring, and I have to recreate actually some planets. So I did do some research here because one of them's a drug kingpin. So I had to look up some of the drugs that people can get addicted to, and then some of the antidotes for those. So I had to do a lot of research medically on the drug kingpin. The other guy, he's a human trafficker, and another guy, he is actually a resources plunderer. And so I'm going to have to, there's a planet I created called Kaifu. Now, all my planets are actually based on real planets, believe it or not. In fact, in Orion Rising, this one right here, there is a character that I introduce in Orion Rising that becomes key and pivotal in the next book. And Grace, she comes from a planet of molten glass storms. There's actually a planet in the universe that rains glass. I know. So cool. When I look up astronomy and stuff like that, it is really cool, all the different planets that scientists know exist. Because they have pictures of them and they know this or that about them. Not much, but it gives me a foundation to build on. Now, the cool thing about the glass planet is, I'm going to give you a little bit on Grace's planet here in Orion, is that what I did do is that my in-laws used to live in a place called Sequim, Washington. It's over in near Seattle on the Puget Sound. And it's called the Blue Hole because all the rain sort of circles and leaves this area with less rain, a lot less rain than Seattle would. So it's called the Blue Hole. So what I did is I created a blue hole on this planet. And the blue hole goes inside the planet miles in order to create a livable subterranean culture. I did a lot of things with the Glacians, and that will come into play a lot more in book 2 or book 3, because Grace becomes a very key figure in book 3 in order to bring down one of the key kingpins. So really, I mean, when I created these people and these cultures, I gave the ability of the creation of these cultures the good and bad. To be honest, I mean, in the first book, Phoenix Rising, the first book, we go to we rescue prisoners from a crustacean civilization, and which is mostly water, of course, on the planet, because the bad guys on that planet are crustacean. So very cool. And then, of course, I mean, there are some really great battle scenes and hand-to-hand fights in Phoenix Rising. It's really a pretty cool book. Being my first in the saga, I had to hook you. So there's a lot of great people, a lot of great characters introduced. In Phoenix Rising, if you guys know Star Trek, you'll know Harry Mudd. Harry Mudd was a character that was sort of full of himself, funny, loved women. And so I made this one planet called Shia. And Shia is a cross between two stories that you may know about, which is Harry Mudd in Star Trek and A Boy and His Dog. And it had Jason Robards and Don Johnson in it, and that movie. Don't recommend it, but A Boy and His Dog was post-apocalyptic. And so the on Shia, I sort of marry those two types of stories together to create a unique individual called the Architect, and with a planet full of beautiful women. So it is quite the visit for the Phoenix, and a lot of humor in it, because I needed a planet with some sarcasm, some humor, some uncomfortable moments, and Ashian comes into play quite a bit in Orion Rising. And so, again, I kind of created all these different planets and these creatures and these characters with abilities that I could manipulate and use later in my stories. You'd think I was smart, but I'm really not that smart. I'm just that creative. And so I could take something that I created before and use it later. And that's kind of fun to do. So that is the second book is better written than the first book. So if you do buy the first book, you'll enjoy the story. You'll probably see some things that I could have done better on. In the second book, I do much, much better in writing. And that's what ends up happening, is that you'll see the maturation of my writing skills come along in science fiction, because I've written fiction before. And science fiction or nonfiction, I've written before. And nonfiction is easy because you're just writing the facts in a sort of entertaining way, interesting way. And that's pretty simple. But basically, you're a storyteller of events. In fiction, not true stuff, you're just making it up as you go along. This is what you're doing. You're just making it up. And so I want you guys to check it out. I mean, if you got $5, download the ebooks for Phoenix Rising and Orion Rising. In a month, I'll have a sale on Orion, because you have to have it up on Amazon for a month before I can discount it. So it'll save you $1. So it'll be $1.99 in a month, but it's $2.99 now. So anyway, that'll it'd be fun to see them in one of the better bestsellers. So if I could get some of you guys to really go after the books and move them up the charts for the Amazon, that'd be cool. And that would be great. And don't forget to leave reviews, positive ones. Mama said if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't write nothing. But I think you'll enjoy it. So write some positive reviews on it, and on Amazon, and help a brother out. No, it's just a few bucks. But you guys, I support you guys. If you guys have something that you need my support, I'm there for you. And I just want to, it's just one of those things, so I think this is kind of fun. You can get the Kindle app on Apple and Android or whatever, and then just download this through the Kindle store. And you can read the first few chapters for free, so you can see how I write in the preview on Amazon. So actually, in Orion Rising, you'll get all the way to the point in the story to where Orion attacks one of the ships, and it sort of leaves you in a cliffhanger because what's going to happen on that ship, the Andronova, is just amazing. It's a great, great, great fight sequence, and it sets the stage for the entire book. So it's really a fun chapter to sort of leave you on a cliffhanger too. So I do use some of my relatives' names. You know, Sarah is my niece, and in Phoenix Rising, one of the first characters I introduce you to, besides the crew of the Phoenix, is Pankaj. And Pankaj is a childhood buddy of mine that is like a brother to me. And so Pankaj is actually in Phoenix Rising. Longbow, which is one of the crew of the Phoenix, is super cool. He's a black British fellow from Birmingham. Now, the cool thing about, when I was Pankaj is from Birmingham, England. And I've always loved the English accent. And nothing cooler than a black guy with an English accent. So I always wanted to grow up to be a black guy with an English accent. So I can't really do that, can I? I can fake an English accent, but I can't be a black guy. But it's the coolest dude. All right? I know my British buddies are going to say, Mike, you sort of screwed up his accent or his phrases. But I worked hard, okay, to study English, slang and stuff like that, and some of the emotions. I watch a lot of BBC too, so I know how to do some of it, so it's kind of fun. And Longbow is one of my favorite characters in the book, and in the series, because he's just so cool. He's the cool dude. Longbow is, and he's tough. He's tough as nails. So you guys will like it. And he gets uncomfortable. He's easily made uncomfortable. In the first book, they go into a bar, and the little alien girl is flirting with Longbow because she'd never seen a black guy before, so she kind of liked him. Longbow is feeling a little uncomfortable. It's kind of fun. So check it out. Phoenix Rising is a lot of fun, a lot of sarcasm. It's totally me. I put less sarcasm in Orion Rising. I don't know why, but it does have it, and it's just I don't know what. Maybe I wasn't in a sarcastic mood when I wrote Orion Rising as much. I'll get back into that sarcastic mood in. One of my favorite characters in science fiction is Han Solo, because he always joked about serious moments, and that's kind of what Michael is like in the books. He always can find a sense of humor, and so did Rebecca, which is a chip off his old block. In fact, there's one scene in Phoenix Rising where she and another person of the crew were having a competition on how many bad guys they could kill. And they were counting out loud, and Michael got really perturbed about it. So, really, kind of a fun moment, kind of dark humor. I don't know. You got to have the action sequences, blah 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 blah. But adding a little bit of humor in there just makes it more fun, and that's kind of what I did. So, check it out. Check it out. See what you guys think about it. I would love to hear what you guys, what you think about it. So hopefully it's good. Hopefully it's good. And you guys, you got a science fiction book to to try out. It's a new series. The Phoenix Saga is about family, friends, relationships, fighting for what's right, of course. There's some bounty hunters in it, in Phoenix Rising. Bam. Bounty hunters. And the battle takes place in an asteroid belt in a nebula. I mean, awesome. Awesome. Man. You wonder, how does this stupid brain come up with this stuff? It's been damaged a lot since I've written these 2 books. I hope I can get some of my juju back. Because, my brain has been damaged a lot. I'm kind of intimidated by the ring. So, we'll see what I can do, huh? Anyway, you guys, thank you for jumping on, looking at the video. And check it out. I'll put the links down below after I post this. And see if you guys can jump on Amazon. And I think it's $5 well worth it. Take care, everybody.